Our body's endocrine system uses hormones to determine how we act and who we are. In this animation, we experience our hormone-producing organs in a breathtaking way. If the body is to function as a single unit, our cells must be able to communicate with one another. The nervous system is one possible communication pathway, which works with the help of nerve fibers and electrical signals. The endocrine system, on the other hand, generally uses the bloodstream to transport signaling substances called hormones from one place to another. The cells belonging to the endocrine system are located in or near the brain, for example. But there are also cells in other areas of the body that release hormones into the blood and thus communicate with other cells. Depending on how you count them, the human endocrine system includes 8 to 10 endocrine glands. In addition, hormone-producing cells exist in the liver, heart, and many other organs. Let's take a look at these organs, cells, and hormones. The pituitary gland, also known as hypophysis, is considered the most compact endocrine organ. The anterior lobe secretes 6, the posterior lobe, 2 hormones. A widely known hormone of the pituitary gland is HGH, also known as human growth hormone, or somatotropin, which is produced by the somatotropic cells in the anterior lobe. Somatotropic cells belong to the acidophilic cells because they turn red when exposed to an acidic dye. HGH, like many other hormones in the body, can easily enter the bloodstream because the capillaries near hormone-producing cells have small holes. These thin blood vessels are called fenestrated capillaries in the bloodstream. HGH can circulate freely in the blood, but it is also bound to a protein called GHBP. When HGH is bound to GHBP, it is unavailable to other cells. But later, it is released when HGH levels in the blood decrease. Both free and bound growth hormones then begin their journey through the body's bloodstream, reaching every cell in the body. Our muscle cells also need this growth hormone. Free HGH circulating in the blood can dock onto 2 somatotropin receptors in a muscle cell connecting the 2 receptors. This process, known as drization, causes numerous reactions within the cell. In muscle cells, for example, the reactions lead to protein synthesis and thus to thickening of the muscle cell. Time and AMAU, the polymerase then runs along the gene and copies the code. This copy is called mRNA. This mRNA leaves the cell nucleus and is converted into a protein within the cell with the help of ribosomes. If the ribosomes are part of the endoplasmic reticulum, we refer to them as membrane-bound ribosomes. However, ribosomes can also be found unbound within the cell. When the mRNA docks onto the ribosome, protein biosynthesis occurs. Scientists refer to this process as translation. These proteins can then trigger various reactions within the cell, but can also leave the cell and travel to other cells if they were produced in ribosomes of the endoplasmic reticulum. Gene expression, in which proteins are produced from mRNA, and signal transduction, shown earlier, in which a hormone binds to the outside of the cell, triggering a signal cascade, are the most common mechanisms of hormone action. This is how the endocrine glands in our body are able to do their work. Let's take a look at all the hormone-producing glands and their functions within our organism. Our skull houses not only the pituitary gland, which is also known as the master gland. Another endocrine gland is the pineal gland. The pineal gland is located in the center of the brain and controls, among other things, the sleep-wake cycle. It is connected to the retinas of our eyes. When no light hits the retina of the eye that is in darkness, the pineal gland produces larger amounts of the hormone melatonin. When light hits the retina, the electrical signals produced by the retina reach the pineal gland, which then reduces melatonin production accordingly. In summary, we can say that the hormone melatonin is produced in darkness and acts on the cells in our body, making our eyes heavy and causing us to fall asleep. We already know that the pituitary gland is called the master gland because it controls the entire hormone balance of the body. It secretes the growth hormone HGH, but also many other hormones such as prolactin and oxytocin. In women, prolactin causes the mammary glands to produce milk for the baby. Oxytocin then triggers the milk ejection reflex by causing the muscle cells in the mammary glands to contract, allowing the milk to flow to the baby. The release of prolactin and oxytocin is also controlled by the infant. Receptors on the breast transmit electrical signals triggered by suckling to the brain, causing the release of the 2 hormones. In this way, the child not only produces milk, but also transports it from the breast to the mouth through the milk ejection reflex. Another gland that produces hormones is the thyroid gland. In humans, it resembles a butterfly and produces, for example, a hormone that consists of either 3 or 4 iodine atoms.